Have you ever played a game on Roblox and thought it could be amazing as long as the developers change certain aspects about it, and then you revisit the game to see how it's doing, only for it to have a 0 player count a year later? Well, today we're talking about Hunting Season Rebirth, created by Soda Thief Studios, the same people who created these games. Hunting Season Rebirth is a game that has you and up to 9 other people fight and kill one of 6 monsters. You can tell how much effort was put into this game, from the models and designs of the monsters, the animations, the UI design, and the programming. It all feels unique and great. And yet, why did it fail? In this video, we'll talk about how Hunting Season Rebirth wasn't able to find success in the long run due to the unvarying playstyle, the gameplay, and the lack of incentives to keep people playing. We'll also talk about Soda Thief Studios' upcoming game, The Vessel, and whether it can become a massive success. The first problem about this game is that there's really only one viable way to win against the monster, and that's by ganging up on it with a bunch of other people. If you try to beat one of the monsters with one other person or by yourself, it's damn near impossible. The monsters all have large amounts of health, requiring dozens of hits from you to kill them, all while the monsters are killing you in 4 hits. And some of them have ranged attacks, so it's not like you can create enough distance to save yourself from all of them. You also have a stamina bar which can be used to sprint or dodge the attacks, but eventually you'll run out of stamina. You're constantly under pressure from the monster with no breathing room. You're always having to react to what the enemy is throwing at you, and it can sometimes feel frustrating not knowing what to do, especially as a new player. At the beginning of each game, you'll have 2 minutes to gather soda cans and medkits. These items can be used to reduce stamina usage by 75% or heal 35 health. You'll also have the opportunity to find tools and weapons. Using these items of course helps you a lot, but the medkits only heal 1/3 of your health. And your inventory only allows for you to carry 3 of these items, meaning you can't spam the health kits and soda cans to fight the monster unless you're able to find all of the soda cans and the medkits on the map and dump them all in one spot. And when you run out of items in your inventory, you just pick up more from where you dumped them all. The issue here is that players who are new to this game aren't going to do that the first time, and when they inevitably do die, it'll feel like there was nothing they could have done to win, leading them to leave the game or find more people. Finding large lobbies is mainly what people did to beat the monsters. And as you can expect, the coordination between 5 or more players usually just consists of throwing yourself at the enemy. And this was the way to beat the game. In fact, this was so effective that it basically made the game extremely easy. When you're out of health, you just go down and a counter of 30 seconds begins. If someone doesn't reach you within those 30 seconds, you'll die, but most of the time someone is able to revive you. So you would have people do damage to the monster who will then get knocked down. And by the time the monster has knocked down a second person among the horde of people fighting him, the first person who was downed is now back up on his feet again. This cycle will continue until eventually you beat the monster. Imagine someone who picks up the game for the first time, who then loses horribly when they play by themselves. So they find a random lobby with tons of people, and all of a sudden the game goes from being extremely difficult to being extremely easy, to the point where you literally wouldn't have to do anything and you would still win. While it's fun taking whacks at the monster and winning, it gets repetitive and boring. The whole game turns into spam the left mouse click over and over again until the monster's health bar is drained. Once a player has beaten a bunch of monsters using this method, it makes the player feel dissatisfied. It wasn't some hard-fought victory, it was just 10 idiots overwhelming the one big target. What could have been done about the game is having lives for each player. If you're running solo, you should have a way to come back live. since you're not able to be revived like if you had teammates. I think one of the reasons why the game isn't able to get new players is that if someone can't find a big enough lobby, they just end up dying instantly and get sent back to the main menu, feeling like they didn't have a chance at winning at all. With the life mechanic, it will allow the player to get better within their first match. I also don't think you should get killed within 4 shots while playing solo. The goal here is to have the player feel like they can improve enough and be able to win. I also think that being able to be revived was a mistake, because again, what's preventing you from being revived constantly with no consequences? Having lives for the players would have people play more conservatively with now the danger of actually being killed. There won't be enough medkits to go around for everybody to use, and eventually players will start to die if they don't start playing smarter. Unfortunately, even with all of that, there's still one giant problem with the gameplay, and that's the monsters themselves. While the monsters all look fantastic, they all suffer from the problems aforementioned. They kill the player too quickly, but they are too easily dealt with when you're in a large lobby. And I feel like a new player going through all of these enemy types is a little underwhelming when you fight them all the same. The monsters you're going up against are each supposed to be a unique challenge, but they aren't. The 6 monsters you face are the Proto-Crawler, the Exo-Crawler, the Wrench, the Dread-Crawler, the Arachne-Crawler, and Zero. They all have a lot of similarities, like melee attacks, shockwave attacks that they can send towards you, and projectile attacks such as acid, fire, or webs that can immobilize you. Some do have unique abilities to them. For example, some can turn invisible, some can spawn in smaller creatures to attack you. But the problem I have with these monsters is that they don't make the player fight them in different ways. I mean, at the end of the day, the strategy doesn't change. You and the group of people just have to rush towards it and smack it until it's dead. Imagine if each enemy needed you to attack it in a different way. Maybe one enemy could only be damaged in a specific spot on its body, or maybe it could only be damaged during an animation that it does. Something else that could have been used to mix up the gameplay is having more abilities to damage the monsters. Again, having the only way to damage monsters by melee can get tiresome. Being able to find gadgets or other traps that you could place down to fight back can go a long way to make the gameplay feel more complete. A lot of problems of this game come directly from the gameplay, but there is one last thing that I believe discouraged people from ever continuing to play it. The final nail in the coffin of this game is the incentive to come back. Incentives are the reason why you play any game, not just on Roblox, and can be described as 2 categories: intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Intrinsic incentives are things that come from you as the player. Things like having fun with the game, whether that's the gameplay itself or the story that has you hooked. The desire to master a game is also an intrinsic incentive, whether it's to get better at the game or to compete and win against other players. Extrinsic incentives are things that don't come from you. Things like a battle pass to complete, daily challenges, login streaks. All of these are incentives that exist in games. Unfortunately, hunting season Rebirth, as you can guess, already has a hard time with making people play the game with intrinsic incentives, but it also messes up on incentivizing people with extrinsic rewards. The game also tries to incentivize the player via a level progression system. This level reward system genuinely is demoralizing. It takes ages to progress, which deters anybody trying to achieve a high level. And some of the rewards of the leveling system are tools you can use to help fight against the monsters, and it genuinely makes me confused why they didn't have some of these items baked into the game. Instead, they locked them behind literal hours of gameplay, which we've already discussed why nobody would be willing to spend their time on this game for more than a day. this game also has to compete with other games, and I think that's what it really comes down to. As a Roblox developer, you're constantly fighting other games for attention. At the end of the day, the player is only able to play a game one at a time, and Hunting Season Rebirth doesn't have anything good to make players choose this game over others on this platform. Soda Thief Studios would create another game after this called Parasite. I won't go into a lot of detail on this game since it honestly deserves its own video, but it fixes a lot of weaknesses of what Hunting Season has. It has a better leveling system and has a fun gameplay cycle. Soda Thief Studios has the ability to create great concepts for games, but sometimes it can feel like that's all they are, concepts. It feels like they were planning on adding way more content to their game, but then cut it all at the last minute. And so that brings me to their upcoming game, The Vessel. From what was shown in the trailer, it looks to be a Doors-inspired game. We already know that the Doors formula, if properly emulated, can be a great success, but it all fringes on whether Soda Thief Studios is able to differentiate the game from Doors. They've proven that they have a strong visual style and can make great models. I have no doubt that from a graphical sense, they'll have no trouble with differentiating their game from the rest. However, it will all depend on whether Soda Thief Studios can work on making the gameplay unique to what Doors and Pressure currently have to offer. And I think they can. They are creative at heart with their games, and I firmly believe that this time around, Soda Thief Studios will finally make their mark on Roblox with this new game. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. I think I'm planning on making this type of video a mainstay for the channel. Although now that school is starting up again, I'll try to make the upload schedule a video like this every 2 weeks and see if that can work out. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.